Are you listening?
Welcome to another episode of the Nerf Report. My name is Bryant Chappelle, and on this week's episode, we get our first look at Ghost of Tsushima gameplay, move over Jimmy Fallon because Animal Crossing is gonna put you out of a job, the Tony Hawk Pro Skater series is back and better than ever, and with all the talk of teraflops and next-gen hardware, Epic Games gives us our first look at the next generation of gaming. But before we jump into any of that, your top headlines. First up this week, Ghost of Tsushima. One of the many games releasing in 2020 that find themselves in the contention for Game of the Year. Seriously, if any more AAA games are announced, this year's Game Awards is going to be less of an award show and more like an episode of Oprah. You get an award, and you get an award, and we all get awards! However, in the crowded field of awesome video games releasing in 2020, this week, developer Sucker Punch shared 18 minutes of gameplay footage that, simply put, is just awesome. Ghost of Tsushima will take place in the year 1274, when the Mongol Empire invaded the Japanese island of Tsushima. You will play as the last samurai Jin, who must transform into a new warrior and push back the invading forces. And for me, following this reveal, Ghost of Tsushima honestly looks like a samurai version of Red Dead Redemption 2. During the gameplay reveal, Sucker Punch shared with gamers some really groundbreaking things, like the ability to play this game however you want to play. There are 0 waypoints or markers to alert you where to go on your journey. Instead, you will be guided by smokestacks in the distance, odd-shaped trees off the side of the road, the guiding wind, or an animal trying to get your attention. And that's just the start of it. Sucker Punch designed Ghost of Tsushima so you can play this game however you deem worthy. And probably the best example of this was our first look at the game's combat system. Players can either choose to fight with honor like a traditional samurai, or you can don the gear of the Ghost and use stealth, violence, and fear to defeat your enemies. Ghost of Tsushima will also offer a vast array of customization to choose from, albeit your armor, the camera filter, or even the voice acting. That's right, Ghost of Tsushima allows you to play the game entirely in Japanese with English subtitles, to make you feel deeply immersed into your very own samurai movie. And luckily for all of us, we don't have to wait much longer to play it, because Ghost of Tsushima will be releasing on July 17th exclusively for the PlayStation 4. Google's Stadia. You know, in 2019, the conversation surrounding Stadia by major publications was, I can't get it to run. Whereas in 2020, the conversation has evolved into, Mom, come look where I got Stadia to run! In fact, on Reddit, Stadia users are sharing their experiences of running Stadia on random devices. Things like the Onyx BookMax 3, Motorola G6s, Amazon Fire HD tablets, Raspberry Pi 4, and a 6-year-old Sony Xperia tablet. But this week, the challenge of getting Stadia to run on the most bizarre device might have reached its peak, because Reddit user The Game Is Easy shared an image of Stadia running on their Peloton bike. According to the post, they were able to get Chrome installed onto their Peloton, opened Stadia.com, paired their controller wirelessly with the tablet, and they were able to play video games while working out. Activision and Vicarious Visions announced this week a remake of the greatest skateboarding games of all time, period. Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 are back, baby. According to Activision, the team at Vicarious Visions has been hard at work developing a remake of both Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2, which will bring back the original levels, pro skaters, tricks, modes, and the iconic soundtrack with today's amazing graphics. The remastered game will also be bringing back fan favorites like the Create a Skater, Create a Park, online multiplayer, and local co-op. Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 Remastered will be releasing on September 4th of 2020 for the PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC. And finally, since the beginning of the US quarantine, late night talk shows have had to become extremely creative with their shows. In fact, many of them have resorted to hosting Zoom interviews or even filming at home, which, after filming 148 episodes of this show at home, I believe seniority gives me the right to say, welcome to the club, Conan. However, in recent weeks, Gary Whitta, the writer behind movies like Rogue One or The Book of Eli, has been dipping his toes into the world of late night talk with a twist. Allow me to introduce you to Animal Talking, a late night talk show that is held within the world of Animal Crossing New Horizon. That's right, Gary has transformed his in-game house into a late night talk show set in which he invites guests to come on and talk with him. And having already filmed 12 episodes, Animal Talking's guest list is extremely impressive, with people like Danny Trejo, Elijah Wood, famed video game developer Tim Schafer, T-Pain, iJustine, and Felicia Day have all joined the show. A show within a video game. Hey babe, can I buy Animal Crossing?
Oh, you mean with all that imaginary money you've been making from the show? Sure. You know what? While you're at it, why don't you get that Tesla you've been looking at too?
Point taken. Well, that's going to wrap up this week's top headlines. So without further ado, let's jump into this week's top story with the rundown.
Now for something completely different. Yeah.
The next generation. For the last 3 years, we have heard so much about the next generation of gaming. I mean, both PlayStation and Xbox fans have been chomping at the bit to reignite the console war, to determine which platform is superior. I mean, we've heard rumors and speculation, but no one has been able to show us exactly what the next generation will look like. But that was up until this week, when Epic Games showed off the brand new Unreal Engine 5 running on the PlayStation 5. And I'm not gonna lie, what we saw was extremely impressive. Epic showed off a beautiful demo running on the Unreal Engine 5 that utilizes a new lighting system called Lumen, along with allowing developers to transport 8K film quality cinematic assets into the video game. The Unreal Engine 5 will also use a new technology called Nanite, which allows the software to render over 100 billion triangles in each frame. And sure, that's extremely impressive and a lot of words that I don't even know what they mean. But we're just getting started. The Unreal Engine also allows for things like convolution reverb that allows developers to measure the reverb of real spaces and place them into a video game, creating fantastic immersive audio design, along with global illumination, which allows developers to change the direction and bounce of light without baking or light maps. And the key takeaway here is that this demo is running on a PlayStation 5. So in many ways, this is our first look at what we can expect from the next generation of gaming. However, some other gamers took this first demo as the idea that this could only run on a PlayStation 5 and assumed that it wouldn't be coming to the Xbox or PC, which honestly is just ridiculous. But this theory got so much steam that Epic's CEO Tim Sweeney had to address it on Twitter. Tim Sweeney wrote, "The Unreal Engine 5 demo on PlayStation 5 was the culmination of years' discussion between Sony and Epic on future graphics and storage architectures. The Nanite and Lumen tech powering it will be fully supported on the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and will be awesome on both." Tim Sweeney further clarified in another tweet, "and high-end PCs, and with features for scaling the content down to run on current generation platforms using traditional rendering and lighting techniques." But as awesome as all of this is, the most exciting next-gen announcement from Epic this week had nothing to do with this presentation. It involved Epic finally launching their Epic Online Service platform that allows developers using the Unreal Engine to create multi-platform games with ease. In fact, the EOS is going to be the same tool that the company utilized to run Fortnite, which means that the next gen will not only be filled with beautiful looking video games, but games that you can play across platforms with all of your friends with zero boundaries. And finally, for this week, we come to that noise, of course, signifies that we are running out of time and coming close to the end of the show. So, in order to cover all the week's remaining news, we must initiate a segment that I like to call Every single week, we have so much news to talk about and so little time to do it. So we take all the week's remaining news, put 60 seconds on the clock, and try to cover it as fast as humanly possible without running out of breath, passing out, or dying! And with that in mind, let's put 60 seconds on the clock. Thunder noise! And go. Leatherface is coming to Dead by Daylight. EA and Respawn have confirmed that they have zero plans for a brand new Titanfall game. The Resident Evil series has officially sold 98 million units since launch. Wow, that's incredible. Doom Eternal launched a brand new free update with empowered demons, which if the demon kills your friend, it'll have a little star above their head. PUBG is adding bots to PC versions of the game. Nintendo is reportedly working on bringing Pikmin 3 to the Nintendo Switch. Speaking of Nintendo, they announced the next chapter in Paper Mario called Paper Mario: The Origami King. 2K announced PGA Tour 2K21 this week. Fortnite will be coming to the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. Arnold Schwarzenegger will be a DLC character on Predator Hunting Grounds. And finally, Iron Man VR will be launching on the PlayStation VR pretty soon, July 3rd. Well, that wraps up this week's Nerf'd in 60 Seconds, along with wrapping up this week's episode of the show. If you like what you saw and you want to see more content just like it, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share it with your friends. As always, my name is Brian Chappell. You are you, and this has been the Nerf Report. Thanks for watching. Thanks again for checking out the channel. You know, if you like what you saw and you want more Nerf Report in your life, head on over to Twitter, Facebook, Spotify. We've got a podcast on Spotify. We're on TikTok, posting daily news on TikTok. Definitely don't want to miss that. Head over to Twitter or check out all of our videos right here on YouTube right now.